When I look back at everything we've built with Tesla, from the first Roadster to Model S to the ramp of Model 3, and then the insane complexity of scaling global factories, the one thing that always kept me pushing forward was this idea that transportation shouldn't just be incrementally better, it should be fundamentally different, radically safer, radically cheaper, radically more efficient. And that vision is finally converging with reality as we prepare to, roughly double our Robotaxi fleet in Austin next month. And I don't mean that as some vague corporate promise. I mean, we're literally going to see twice as many autonomous vehicles navigating the city, learning faster, gathering data exponentially, making the neural network smarter in real time, all part of the broader rollout of full autonomy that we've been refining for years. And I've been telling the team and anyone who will listen that autonomy isn't a feature, it's a revolution. It's the moment when the car stops being a tool and becomes an intelligent agent that can move people around with near zero accidents, near zero downtime, near zero cost per mile. And Austin is kind of becoming our sandbox for that future because it's a city that embraces experimentation and scale. And what we're doing there is the precursor to deploying in 8 to 10 major cities across the United States by the end of 2025, which sounds like a big number, but honestly is just the beginning. Because once the fleet reaches critical mass, network effects take over, and suddenly a Robotaxi fleet becomes not just an engineering project, but a living system. A decentralized swarm intelligence that makes transportation safer for everyone. And I've been thinking a lot about that future lately. The moment someone taps a button on their phone and a Tesla with no human driver just rolls up, totally calm, totally aware, using billions of miles of training data to make split-second decisions better than any human can. And people will look back and say, why were we ever letting drowsy, distracted, stressed humans pilot 2-ton metal objects at high speed? Why did we accept 40,000 deaths a year as normal? And the truth is, we didn't need to. We just didn't have the technology yet. But now the technology is real, the compute is real, the neural nets are real, and the cost curves are finally bending downward to the point where a Robotaxi ride will be cheaper than the cost of fuel in a gas car. And that's when everything flips, that's when ownership changes, that's when cities start redesigning themselves around quiet electric autonomy instead of noisy gas cars and parking lots. And there's something deeply exciting about knowing that Austin is about to see that transition happen in real time. That next month, we're pushing the throttle on deployment. That by late 2025, you could land in Los Angeles, or Miami, or New York, or maybe even Chicago, and summon a Tesla that doesn't need a driver, doesn't need a steering wheel, just moves with purpose, precision, and an almost alien level of awareness. And look, I know people say I'm too optimistic with timelines, and maybe sometimes that's fair, but I'm optimistic because I know what's under the hood. I know what the engineering teams have been doing at 2 a.m. for years. I know the breakthroughs that haven't even been announced yet. And when I tell you we're roughly doubling the Austin fleet, I mean it. And when I say we're pushing into 8 to 10 cities by the end of 2025, that's the plan. Not as a hypothetical, but as the trajectory we're already on. And honestly, the craziest part is that this is still the early game. Because once robotaxis are everywhere, once they're moving millions of people a day, we start asking bigger questions. What happens to traffic? What happens to logistics? What happens to the value of time when you're not driving? What happens when transportation becomes abundant, clean, cheap, and fully autonomous? And I don't think people are ready for how transformative that becomes, but they will be, because Austin is about to get a preview of the future next month, and the rest of the country is following right behind. And as we push deeper into this autonomy frontier, something interesting keeps happening inside the company. People realize that what we're building isn't just a car that drives itself. It's a kind of digital organism, a neural system that gets better the more it's used. And every time a Tesla navigates a tricky intersection in Austin, or predicts a cyclist's trajectory, or handles an unexpected construction zone, that moment becomes part of this massive collective intelligence that every other Robotaxi learns from. So when I'm talking to the teams about doubling the Austin fleet, I'm not just talking about putting more vehicles on the road. I'm talking about doubling the rate at which the system evolves, doubling the rate of improvement in edge cases, doubling the speed at which autonomy becomes indistinguishable from magic. And sure, people still ask me the same questions. What about regulations? What about safety? What about people who don't trust AI? And I always give the same answer. Autonomy will prove itself because reality is the ultimate filter. And when you have millions of rides happening safely, reliably, quietly, without drama, the argument flips, and suddenly it becomes irresponsible not to deploy autonomy. Kind of like how elevators used to need human operators until eventually the tech became so obviously superior that you'd never even consider a person pulling levers between floors. And this Robotaxi network is basically the transportation equivalent of removing the elevator operator from the equation, except at a much bigger scale. And the logistics implications are insane too, because once the system is running in 8 to 10 cities by the end of 2025, we're not just moving people. We're moving goods, groceries, supplies, small shipments, all with zero tailpipe emissions, zero brakes, zero sick days. And yes, I know people worry about jobs, but historically, every major technological shift has created far more new opportunities than it destroyed. And autonomy is no different. There are entire new industries forming around fleet operations, AI monitoring, urban integration, on-demand maintenance, and of course all the businesses that thrive when transportation becomes dramatically cheaper. And honestly, that's the part people underestimate. The economic shockwave, the way cities suddenly become more accessible, mobility becomes more equal, commutes become less stressful, and time that was previously wasted behind a steering wheel is suddenly productive or relaxing or whatever you want it to be. And I think about some kid growing up in Austin right now who maybe can't afford a car, maybe can't get to work easily, and next year they tap an app and a Robotaxi just shows up. No hassle, no gas, no insurance, no parking, just instant mobility. And that's when you realize this isn't just a technology project, it's a societal upgrade. And yeah, the rollout will be messy at times. There will be haters, there will be people rooting for failure, but that's always the case with disruptive technology. And I've learned over the years, from rockets that nobody believed would land to electric cars nobody thought could scale, that the only real path forward is to build the future anyway. To push through doubt with engineering, with first principles, with sheer persistence. And that's exactly what's happening in Austin and soon across the country as the Robotaxi network comes alive. One ride at a time, one data point at a time, one city at a time. Until one day people will look around and realize the future is no longer coming soon. It's already here, humming quietly down the street in a fleet of autonomous Teslas. And as we keep accelerating toward this future, there's this surreal moment where I'll be walking through the Austin Gigafactory late at night, because honestly, that's when the place feels the most alive. The robots humming, the lines running like arteries pumping electrons instead of blood. And I'll think about how strange it is that something which once sounded like science fiction is about to become a totally normal part of daily life, like kids born in 2030 might grow up never understanding what it even meant to drive. The same way no kid today understands dialing a rotary phone or using a paper map. And what really blows my mind is that the Robotaxi network isn't even the final form. It's just phase one of this huge arc where transportation becomes autonomous, energy becomes sustainable, and the boundary between physical and digital systems gets thinner and thinner until cities operate like living organisms with real-time feedback loops powered by AI and electric mobility. And sometimes people ask me if that's scary. If creating a system so intelligent and so pervasive could get out of control, and I always say the same thing. The danger isn't building advanced AI. The danger is not building it carefully and transparently. Because humans make millions of tiny mistakes a day. They get tired, emotional, distracted, and the whole point of autonomy is to minimize those failure modes and create something that behaves consistently, predictably, optimally. And when you combine that with renewable energy and machine learning at planetary scale, you end up with a world that is cleaner, quieter, safer, and honestly, a lot more fun. And I know critics think I'm being overly utopian, like I'm promising some techno heaven. But really, I'm just describing what happens when you remove inefficiency from the equation. And I imagine in a day not too far from now, when a robotaxi in Austin takes someone to work at a speed optimized by traffic AI, using energy harvested from the sun, analyzing millions of scenarios